See, this is the problem that we've had, okay? First, there was the 16 young men that ended up being sport balled. And I think somebody thought that they were going to swap them out for the 16 in Chicago. But that wasn't the equivalency. It really wasn't. And it wasn't supposed to be speculation, it was supposed to be accountability. And who did that fall on? Well, it didn't fall in the way it should, because it shouldn't have been about cutting deals with that guy to try to get better rates. Why? Because those 16 ended up becoming what? 16 guys that went down in order to pay for a military payload involving immigrant children as part of somebody's campaign hedge, right? And that wasn't appropriate either, because those specific 16 members of the military were needed for special forces in order to raid terrorist dens that were kidnapping people and trying to use them for biological weapons development. Still not an equivalency. So, what ended up happening after that? Not once, not twice, but three times in 2 years. Perfect 15 and ones involving Palestinians. Again, not all of them beautiful young men that should be either in college or should be starting their lives, right? Different caliber. Maybe something closer to an equivalency. But then again, where did that go? Not to where it was supposed to go. How many times did somebody have to go take his ravens down to the US Mexico border in order to flip a pension fund deal? And that's why the squaring off was between Mike and between Elijah, right? It was. Now, the truth of the matter is, that triple shot of Palestinians shouldn't have happened either. Why? Because if that special forces team had been around, they would have also been in network with the guys that would have shut down the clearinghouse in Houston. When you had your little triad of black tongstresses working the security setup on the event. And if that had been shut down that day, they wouldn't have been able to move the capital in order to finance that deal, which, by the way, did what to Africa, right? Because ultimately, we got to factor this in long term. So, right there is four sets of 16 on people that have already, in one manner or another, identified themselves as being non-violent. Let's put it that way. Willing to take up arms if necessary to defend themselves, their country, and their people. But who's brokering this, right? Who thinks those lives are ones that they get to gamble with, and for what? See, my 16 should have been delivered in November of 2019. There was already enough notice before that bond deal through fucking Hong Kong that there was a need, and everything lined up to identify them as the culprits. Now, had they committed to actually taking up arms themselves in order to defend their country? No. But they had committed to paying for it. They had committed to literally taking responsibility for the transportation away from the military, putting it under their largesse, and they were guilty as fucking hell. But somebody made a decision. And what did they want instead? Well, then we get to the next part. You were not owed what you just took. You were owed 16 and you were owed 44. You understand? You were owed 16 and you were owed 44. And that's what I would have given you, one way or another. I'm sorry. You can replace an executive. I'm sorry. You can even replace a damn senator. But you can't replace what they just did. There's no replacement for that. There's no equivalency for that. It was a premeditated campaign. They should never, ever have thought that they were going to gamble like this and get away with it. You understand? You were owed 16 and you were owed 44. And then it would have been what was needed. I don't know what happens now because they liquidated the wrong capital tier. And again, they're trying to get away with redistributing it to the wrong fucking people. I hope this time you pay attention.